Welcome back, everyone. On to day 3, we are wasting no time here whatsoever diving into the 12 Stouts of Christmas. Obviously, if you haven't seen videos 1 and 2, there is a playlist on the YouTube channel, so you can watch them all in unison if you really want to. But let's get into day 3. Quite simply, let's just dive right in. So day 3 brings us Sugar Plum Fairy. So this stout is brewed with fresh plums, as the name, would make you assume. And so the reason I'm excited today is that stouts really complement dark fruit flavors like plums, figs, currants. So I'm really excited to see how the fruit flavor comes through but still blends well with the dark roasty malts, the coffee flavors, the cocoa flavors that you do expect with a stout. So without any further ado, let's crack into it. So first things first, as you all should know by now, it's time for the aroma. We've got a nice head on here, get it agitated, and get to smelling. And so as you'd expect with this, since it is kind of following the same stout, just different variations of it, you're getting basically the exact same characters that we've gotten in the previous beers. It really does, it is kind of almost mesmerizing how consistently it keeps its backbone with just slight little tweaks here and there that make the beers so unique. And so with this, on the aroma, I almost get a peanut butter smell, which I know is not designed. I'm sure it's the sweetness of the plums that's counteracting with the dark roastiness of the malts, that I'm kind of getting this sweet, almost nutty smell to it. No real plum distinction that I'm getting immediately, but I'm really hoping it does come through and complement the beer nicely on the taste. And with that, bottoms up, baby. So it's quite mild. The plum flavor really is quite mild. It's not as forward as I would think with the beer called Sugar Plum Fairy. It's definitely there, and you can tell it does have that dark fruitiness to it, but it really does taste quite similar just to the beer from day 1, their Black Friday. Yeah, the Black Friday. So day 2 is definitely quite a spin-off, and you had all the characteristics of, I guess, what figgy pudding would be. I did notice flavor differences, but here it really does taste nearly identical to day 1. I'm gonna hop back into this because there's got to be something here I'm not getting immediately. Maybe I needed to let the beer warm a little bit more. Stouts are a beer that's better enjoyed at not a warm temperature, because warm beer is never good, it's ugh. But it is better for a stout to be kind of in the upper 40-degree range. Sometimes some even lower 50s, which doesn't sound appealing, but it does help the flavors kind of come to the forefront. The cold can sometimes mute a lot of flavor. That's why if you ever at a restaurant they offer you a frosted mug, don't take it, because you're really just setting yourself up to not be able to taste anything that the brewers are really intending for you to get with the beer. But as I said, I really want to try this again, see if I can pinpoint anything I'm missing. I mean, dark, creamy, smooth, rich. There is a bit of that fruit flavor in there, but it's definitely not the star of the show. The star of the show is just kind of a regular stout in this case. It's got the dark malt, so kind of has a toasted bread taste to it. Hop profile, there's a slight bitterness, but you couldn't necessarily tell if it was like Mochueka hops or Citra hops or anything like that. For a stout, usually the hops aren't put in there for flavoring, more for just bittering. And you can tell that that's the case here. This is not like an overly sweet beer, anything like that. It does still have a pronounced bitterness to it. But it's almost softer than beer 1. So if you guys try the beers, hopefully in the same order I'm doing them, but if you try, beer 1 definitely is a stout. It has every characteristic of a stout. That same like kind of rough edge that you expect with a dark beer, where this one, it's kind of softer. So although the plum flavor, it's really not coming out to me too strong, but it does create kind of a softness for the beer. So it almost tastes creamier than the first one, despite I'm sure the brewing process not being too different between one and the other than the introduction of plums. But the fruit kind of does give it a softness, balances out the coffee harshness. The dark roasty malts do complement it nicely. So really it's a good beer. I actually, oddly enough, although day 2 had more of a variation from the first stout, this one feels like it's a more perfected version of the first stout, which I really like. So 3.5 day 1, 3.7 day 2. I have half a nerve to, like, it feels like I should put it right in the middle. I should put it at 3.6, but I just don't think that's what I'm gonna do. I mean, I'm a bad boy, what can I say? But I think I'm gonna, I think I'm putting it 3.7. I think I'm going to keep it even with day 2 beer and day 4 beer. You know, I'm excited I want something vastly different. So I'm hoping one of these beers, I know there's an eggnog one coming up, gingerbread I believe as well. So I'm really hoping for the ginger one. The ginger really creates a snap. But we'll get to that either tomorrow or the next day. I'm not sure. I know it is coming up here shortly. But as for this, 3.7. Just like yesterday's beer, not in taste obviously, but in rating. And with that, that's a review. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave comments underneath, check out the rest of the videos. Vincent will be joining me on one of these, so I know, get excited, get excited. But other than that, guys, have a nice beer and have a great rest of your day.